This time on Scott's Garage, we're going to refinish this ancient 100-year-old step stool seat. Hello and welcome to Scott's Garage, Arizona edition. We're here, beautiful rural Arizona out here. It's nice and brisk in the garage, probably in the 30s, but we've got good clothing because, as you know, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. I think I'm good to go on that. So we put it out to y'all. Comments are in. The overwhelming decision on everybody is don't worry about the value of it. Just do a complete redo, reno of the whole stool, sanding it down, refinishing it, everything, tightening it up. Don't worry about keeping it original. Just have fun with it. The thing that occurs to me, though, is in most of the research that I found, the step stool seats are only 2 steps. This one is 3. I really didn't find that many out there like this, so I don't know whether it's really rare and that makes it really valuable, or it's not rare and nobody wants the 3-step one. I don't know, could go either way. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and refinish this, and hopefully it comes out nice. And let's get into it and go to work. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to do is probably take some photos. So when I want to put it back together, I know how it goes back together. Probably just take off all the screws, and then the seat here has a pretty good crack in it. And it's actually right here where they did a, is that a step dado or something? So we want to put some glue in that, glue that back together. And I think there's a couple of other sections that kind of need to be glued right here. The crack there, we'll want to glue that. And I think we're just going to take off all this hardware and go from there. So let's get to kind of a disassembly. Well, first I'll clean up, then disassembly, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just kind of clean this up. It's got spider webs and dust and stuff. And really look at it. Oh, these are wooden dowels, okay. Anyway, here's where that logo is. Right here. I don't know if you can see where, that's where that old logo is. Looks like it's painted on or something. There's this cool little locking mechanism right here. Supposed to lock it in. Yeah, that works. Neat. Huh. Okay, so I took some pictures of it. I think we're ready for disassembly. So I think the first thing I want to do is remove this seat. Looks like it's pretty simple. This bracket, 2 screws, and then each side has 2 screws. And then I think we'll be pretty good to go. And the thing I'm worried about is this is riveted in, these pivot points. These are riveted on. And I don't really know how I would get those back on there if I had to do it. So I think I'm going to keep that as an assembly, but I'm going to take apart a lot of this. And I'm not using my Makita because I don't want to strip out any of these screws. I'm going to reuse them. So I'm just going to use a hand screwdriver and be real careful not to ruin anything. Okay. So I'm going to note that the little hump in this bracket is over where the logo is. Remember, let's remember that. 1 bracket. So far, this is pretty easy. Yeah, most of these screws are not even really that tight. They're neat, kind of neat screws. They have like a boss there. These are original. Totally boss, man. So far, this is coming out really nice. And I don't know if there's a right and a left to these two bracket assemblies. Let's see if there is. Okay, so that should just come off. And now we have our seat. We can put that aside and work on that in a little bit. All right, so the next thing I want to do is just take these two bracket assemblies off, and then I still won't be able to separate the two leg sections because they're connected with this. It looks pretty simple. They're using all the same screws, so it's going to be kind of hard to get this mixed up, I guess. And what I'd like to do is clean, paint, and then try to tighten up these joints a little bit. So the idea here is, so this is a big long rivet. There's a rivet head here that's kind of a dome. It goes all the way through, and it was smashed down here. Okay, so what I try to do is kind of remove some of the material around this. So if I push this through with the punch, hopefully the material will just kind of deform and the rivet will come out. That's my idea anyway. Ow! All right. Let's just do the same thing with the other side. And I think we got a procedure here. Oh, nice. There we go. We have the two pieces separated. Sweet. Keep them separated. I think I loosened it up. Let's see. Yeah, all they needed was a little bit of some encouragement. Whew, man, that's tight. It's not really coming out, is it? There we go. Let's pull it out of there. Okay, let's go put this in the paint station. Look at those. They're like spiral. Those aren't very good. That's why they're loose. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here with all the pieces is just look it over and see if I need to glue anything. These look pretty good. These are the steps. We can sand these down and finish them. Oh, look at how different size the steps are. Wait, this one has a lot of abuse, but doesn't look like it needs to be glued at all. Okay, so the steps look good. They're kind of ready for sand. But that one looks pretty good. It's this one. This is what I'm saving for last. So I have a big crack here, and then a crack here. All right, put that aside to dry. Good morning. So it's the next day. It's another chilly morning in the shop, but this had a chance to dry overnight, and so I think now we can just take off all the clamps, and this seat should be ready for some sanding. That looks pretty nice. Sealed up the joint real nice. All right, so we're making some progress. I got everything sanded. The only thing that I didn't sand were these dowels. I was trying to figure out a way to sand the dowels, something to hold them in place. And I thought, well, why don't I just assemble this, glue it, and then once it's all glued, I can sort of clamp it in like the vise or something, and then just go like that. So that's my plan. Anyway, I'm going to assemble this side with some glue, clamps, and then I'll do the other side the same way. And so let's go ahead and glue this up. And we're making some pretty good progress here. All right, so we have the large section here, which is all sanded. I masked off and painted these metal brackets. And so I can go ahead and remove the tape, and then we can start on the assembly. I have already assembled the small vertical section. This is the large vertical section. And I'm going to assemble it with 2 screws in the end of each foot. And then there's a little bracket that goes on here too. I don't think I'm going to glue it. It looks like when they removed this material in here, they did it in a pretty rough fashion. And so I don't think glue is really going to stick on there very good. And also to me, it seems like if it could flex a little bit as people are stepping on it, it might be better in that regard as well. So let me go ahead and take this tape off, and then we'll start doing some assembly. Okay, so I think instead of nails for these, I'm going to use these pretty cool screws. They have a self-drilling head. I don't know what that little thing is, but it looks cool. And I realize that it's a T25. So I screwed a couple through there so they're sticking out. And then I started off with the large step. I don't know why I was thinking, but I quickly realized that the large step doesn't go at the top. The small step does, because it kind of tapers. And so I was trying to line this up so it looked like it would fit pretty good. And that looks like it does. So I'm just going to screw this in. Let me take that back out a little bit, just so I have the little nub sticking out. And then I have the nice curved spot there with a beautiful pattern of wood. Love that. So then if I just put this here, and it fits right in there, and no glue, I'm not going to use any glue. So I drilled these holes out a little bit bigger and did a countersink so that when I put the screw in, it's not going to spread it out very much. With the existing holes, right on. And we have steps. Neat. This is really cool. Man, what a fun project so far. This has been really, really fun. So then we have to get this one right, make sure it all lines up. Hey, we have half of a ladder. And that's it. The large section is assembled. All right, so next steps is putting finish on. Let me show you the finishing station that I have, because right now it's probably just about freezing here in the shop, about 32 Fahrenheit, and that's not good for doing finish. What I did is in the bathroom, I set up this little finishing station. It has a small wall heater, which is just enough to heat up the room. And I've got my seat, the large vertical section, and the small vertical section. And I've already got a coat of finish on all of them. We're ready for the second coat right now. All right, so we're down to the last few steps here. We've got all the finish done. My little bathroom with the heater in there worked great for doing all the finish. Because the temperature is so cold here out in the shop, I was able to keep that a little bit warmer, and that worked great for drying the finish. I put a couple of coats on everything except for the surfaces that get wear, the steps and the seat. I put 3 coats, and the seat I particularly put a pretty heavy coat on there, all 3 times. So it's got a lot of polyurethane on there. So the only thing left to do now is the assembly. And the one thing that I need to keep in mind is that I don't want the screws to be too long. I don't think I'm going to use the old rusty screws that were in here. I mean, those are kind of nice and it's good to keep it original, but I think I'm going to use some new modern screws. So in doing that, I have to be really careful that the screws aren't going to be too long. So if I was to grab a screw like this, then, and I screw something into it, then it's going to stick out like that. It's going to go right up through the seat, and that's not going to be a very nice look or nice to sit on. So I have to be really careful. So the first thing I want to do is, I think, is add these little brackets, the 6 little brackets, which I have them all right here, all painted and everything. I'd like to put on these longer screws, but I'm just too afraid that they're going to stick out. These are about 3/4, and that's about the thickness of here. We're getting right down to it. So I found these kind of fat, shorter ones here. Yeah. See, so if I don't know why, but if I do it this way, it doesn't really seem to fit very good. But if I do it this way, the holes line right up just perfectly. So let's see how these smaller ones fit, first of all. So we'll just do that 5 more times, and I think we'll be good to go. Okay, so I have all 6 of those brackets on there with some nice big modern screws. That looks pretty good for that. Let's see what else. Okay, so let's put on this baler. This is the inside. So I think this part goes here. Put one of these right here. Pretty good. Okay. I think probably the next thing we need to do is start working on the seat. Yeah, after checking the old photos, looks like this is kind of how they go. So let's just try to put them here and see if that's going to work. And this is going to go right here. Okay, and then to retain this thing, let's put this here. Put a couple screws there. So now we have our ladder retained there. Okay, so far so good. Let's get the other piece. Then I think all we really need to do after this is hook on these brackets, which is going to be the tough part. So these ones go on the outside. These are going to go here. And they're going to go on the outside of that. All right. Cool. So I think the only thing left is to put in these pieces here. All right. Here we go. And then let's just take this over to the bench and mushroom over these rivets, and I think we'll be done. Okay. This should be easy.
You got it.
Because I don't really want to do too much. Put that right on there. Make sure that's all the way that way. That's all the way that way. All right, ready?
Nope.
No?
Move your hand.
Oh.
I don't want it smiling. Okay, go ahead.
Wait. Okay.
You got it.
All right, so we have our stool here, and it has a nice locking mechanism. When you turn it upside down, push that. There you go. You can hang up your stool. You've got it ready to go. And then when you need a stool, and it locks in place. All right, love it. Hey, it works. What do you know? It's actually good looking and functional. Anyway, I had a really good time making this for you. I hope you had a good time watching it, and we'll see you next time on Scott's Garage. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.